Are you somebody who worries about what other people think, or are you just not bothered? I think that I've come to a point in my life now where, I'll read the comments and people can be quite nasty or sarcastic or rude. And I don't care. I just don't care. I don't really care what people think about me. I think this is a healthy situation to be in. People can say all sorts of things and say you're wrong or you're stupid or you're arrogant or you're mentally mixed up, whatever. But it doesn't really matter, does it? And I think this is something that we should all understand, that we should understand who we are and what we are, because we don't need to rely on what other people seem to think about us. We seem to be in a world now where more and more we've got to self-censor ourselves and not say what we really want to say, or we've got to be very cautious and dress and perform and behave, excuse me, like everybody else, that we've got to conform. And we've seen, have we not, that life is very much built that way. And perhaps we've never thought of it like that. And I've mentioned this in many of my other videos, that children, they go to school, they wear a uniform so that they all look pretty much the same. They are told when they can put their hands up or when they can answer questions. They are told how to think. They are given permission to do certain things, like go to the lavatory when it suits the teacher rather than the actual biology of the child itself. And they go through life. We end up going to university, or we go to an apprenticeship, and then we end up in the workplace. And all the time we're being conditioned by terms and conditions, aren't we? You have to conform to this box and to that box. And in the end, what seems to be happening is that the you, the unique, creative you, the expression of the universe that is you in this physical flesh and blood body, is being reduced, so that you find it very hard to express yourself in the way that perhaps you want to. And so then we become very concerned and bothered about what other people think about us and the things that we do. We become conditioned. Oh, I can't do that because, or I mustn't do that. Now, I'm not suggesting that we should be rude just for the sake of being rude, or that we should swear left, right and centre in front of old ladies or young children, or anybody come to that. I'm not suggesting that we should be all argy-bargy and arrogant about things, that we should just demand attention to ourselves. I'm not suggesting that. You and I'm absolutely convinced that you know the difference between right and wrong. You know intrinsically that perhaps, say, pushing somebody over to the floor, or punching them in the face, or just spitting at them, or being rude, or swearing in their hearing is wrong. I would imagine that you would know that. You would know that, things that you might do that are good and beneficial to others, that are right. You would know the right thing to do. If you see rubbish on the floor, for example, in the street, and there's a bin just over there, you would think that you would go, oh, it's very easy for me to just put this rubbish in the bin to save it blowing about or encouraging other people to throw more rubbish on the floor, on the pavement, wherever. I think we know intrinsically what's right or wrong. So I'm not saying that we shouldn't be unbothered by anybody by just then being outrageous for the sake of it, or arrogant or narcissistic or mean or any of those things, because we don't care what other people think of us. But I think we have to find that line in which we are not hemmed in by other people's thoughts, or conditioned or self-censoring us ourselves because a certain bunch of people don't like something, Obviously, you wouldn't want to say be rude to somebody's religion if you were amongst a bunch of people who obviously have some religious beliefs. You wouldn't want to say upset them, because of course that would be wrong. It would just simply be wrong. But if you were in a debate with people, in a nice debate, not an argument, not an aggressive argument, and you're discussing something and you wanted to, and you felt that you should be able to say, actually, I believe this, even though I know you believe that. If you could able to put it over in a polite manner, I think that's perfectly right. We should be able to not worry what other people think about us and present ourselves, that we shouldn't limit ourselves, because if we start limiting ourselves, if we start having to go with the flow, we have the hive mind, and not push back against things that we intrinsically know are not right. For example, there may have been plenty of people during a certain time in 2020 who felt that staying indoors, when the rest of the nation was saying, oh no, it's not safe to go out of doors, even though we felt actually it's perfectly all right to go outside. I don't believe the propaganda I'm being told. We should have had the strength, and many of us did, of course, to be able to do that. And even though people may have been shouting at us, get back indoors, don't do this, you're a granny killer, and all these terrible slurs that were pushed against people, I think if you believe something, if you believe in it strongly, and you're not really upsetting anybody or promoting evil things, you should be able to go about your life not worrying about what other people say. And of course, somebody in my situation here on YouTube, when I can get on it, of course, is very much one of those, you put your head above the parapet, you say your thing, and a lot of people are there to throw the brickbats, the stones, the sticks, and all of those things, or the keyboard warriors who don't actually seem to like you, don't seem to want to watch your videos, but they're very keen to watch your videos and then put in a whole load of nonsense into their thing. To be honest, it doesn't worry me at all. I say to them, thanks for pumping up the numbers. Thanks for watching the videos and it making them more popular. I don't think those people, the keyboard warriors who are sort of trolling you or completely against your points of view, understand that actually all that interaction is actually benefiting the YouTube creator. Even if they're being negative, it's still very useful. So it doesn't really matter. But I don't read those comments. And even if I did, I just laugh at them, because I'm not bothered what other people think about me. I know in myself who I am, what I stand for, and I'm expressing my views. And I believe everybody should have that right to have the freedom, more and more in these days where we're all supposedly to toe a certain line, to think a certain way, and not question certain policies that perhaps the government come out with, or the isms that we're all told are very important and that we must abide by. I feel that if we are to evolve as a species, as people on this planet, whether it's flat, circular, or something else, whatever, we need to be free to be able to express ourselves. And I say that for those that want to, who disagree. But all I would say is, if you are going to disagree, and I have no problem with you disagreeing, what kind of world would it be if we all agree with each other? It would be very dull. But people can, of course, disagree in an agreeable manner, because they ought to know what is right or wrong. Although when it comes to the internet and keyboard warriors, very often they'll say things on their keyboard to somebody that they would never have the guts or the strength to say face to face. And that seems to be more and more the case. In fact, the worse they say things in the comments, the less they would actually say it to your face. And that's very interesting. So I would urge people to be free, learn who you are, break away from the constraints that this world is putting on us, and express yourself positively, if possible, to the greatest degree, and add colour to your life by being as free as you can. We are an unstoppable people. Let's keep it that way.